cheers to another episode of the Wine Notes Podcast. I'm your guide, AJ Weinzettel, on this journey of stories showcasing the people behind the wonderful world of wine, where we dive into conversations ranging from terroir, viticulture, to favorite music, superpowers, and more. Please enjoy this episode of the Wine Notes Podcast. Chris, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, no, it's, I always love Soter. There's just an ambiance that's here, and it's an absolute pleasure to be out here today.
I know the feeling. I've been here for almost 14 years, and it still feels amazing. So,
yeah,
is a real something other factor that exists, especially here on this property of Mineral Springs.
It is. I brought a little bit of a blind. Is it okay if
It's a test.
It's a small test, but if you want to talk about it, you can.
I never passed tests in the past, but I'll do my best. How's that?
Well, there's zero pressure.
Yeah.
There's no pass or fail here.
What is it? It's D's get degrees? Is that right? Yeah.
Maybe. All right. Wait a little bit here.
Thank you.
Of course. I was thinking about bringing a different wine today because I thought it was such a unique wine, but I never bring a wine that you have possibly made.
Yeah. Okay.
So
well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That could be embarrassing.
It could have been. It was the silver label, that has, I don't know, it has like 4 or 5 different.
Oh yeah. Silver linings.
Silver linings. Yeah.
It's well, it's a really interesting wine is probably the best way to say it. It is a very dynamic group of grapes. They come from one vineyard way out by Silverton, by Silver Falls,
right?
Hence silver linings. And the owners, Ken and Karen, have been longtime friends with Tony, with myself, with the winery, and we've been buying the grapes for quite a while now. I think I'll probably be making this up, but I'm going to say maybe since 2012.
Wow.
It's the highest elevation vineyard in the Willamette Valley, so that should definitely go on record. So There's challenges that come with elevation, and I think it sits up at maybe almost 1,600 feet.
Wow.
Not to mention it's in the windward side of the foothills to the Cascades. So when we get half an inch of rain here, they get 2.
I can only imagine.
3.
Yeah.
So, there's challenges that come with it, but there's amazing expression that also comes with it. It's it's kind of one of those things. Nothing in this world, nothing great comes easily.
Right, and that is a great wine.
It's proof in the pudding.
Oh my
right there.
gosh!
Yeah, I'm glad you like it.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoy it. And starting off, I read your bio, and there was one part in the bio where you mentioned that you're a slow driver. And I was like, wow, because in this day and age, everybody's just moving 1 million miles a minute. And I know you're a native Oregonian, you're big, Oregon is like home base. Like, is that just part of being an Oregonian that I didn't grow up in Oregon, just being a slow...
My instincts say yes, but
okay.
I don't know. I think it's just comfortable. I think that maybe it's what it used to mean to be Oregonian. Obviously, Oregon has changed a lot and changes every day.
Yes.
Every place changes.
Yes.
But Oregon, which definitely was I would say probably more consistently a slow driving state 20 years ago, I think we still exist, if you know what I mean by that.
Yes.
And my family's lived in Oregon for a long time, so all the way back to my great-great-grandfather, and who I never met, but I will assume he was a slow driver if he had a vehicle.
Right.
But it's also, we're a product of who we're raised by, and my parents, my mother and my father, amazing people, never aggressive on the road.
Wow.
And we're very clear with me that it's... while there's extra risks that you take going fast, it's also a math exercise. You get to the same place at pretty much the same time, especially if you're only driving 15 or 20 miles. So why be in a hurry? Why bring extra stress into your day? And if people want to drive faster, they can go around you. So I'm good going 58, 55 on the highway. I'm good going. Sometimes I catch myself going a little slower than the speed sign says.
Right.
And if there's no cars behind me, honestly, like if I got nowhere to be, then just why not just cruise?
No, it's a good philosophy. It's a very good philosophy. When I found out that you're in the Army, you're in Iraq in like 2004. I don't know. It was nice to hear, and the reason for that is I was in the Air Force from '93
Nice.
to.
Thanks for your service.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Right back at you. Yeah.
I always feel weird when people tell me thank you for your service because
I feel weird saying it too, but I
Yeah.
think I actually really mean it.
yeah, during my time, did some time in Kuwait, in Egypt, but holy cow, you're in Iraq, and it just I can only imagine what that was like.
Yeah, it was an adventure. And I joined the military in 2000, December of 2000, my 18th birthday. And my dad is a CPA. My mom also was a CPA, more an entrepreneur, and owns a women's retail clothing store. And I love my parents, but I didn't really. I was telling you earlier, I don't do good like standing still or sitting down for long periods of time.
Right.
I need to do things. I need to move my hands. I need to feel like I'm accomplishing something. And I love adventure. And I knew for a while that I needed a certain amount of adventure in my life, and that sounded appealing to me. And, I'm sure you remember when you joined the Air Force, you don't really know what you're getting yourself into.
No.
And I'll be completely honest, neither did I, not even close.
Right.
And I went to MEPS, the military in processing, essentially, here in Portland, and was put on a plane, a few days later, flown to Georgia, and got on a bus from Atlanta and drove south to Fort Benning. I didn't know what Fort Benning was, nor even where it was. And I didn't really know what I'd signed up for until I looked out the window, and on my left-hand side, it said, Fort Benning, Georgia, home of the infantry. And I just looked and sort of said to myself, I guess I'm in the infantry now. But I had no idea I was in the infantry up until that point. So I entered into a very interesting world. And I think interesting is probably the best way to say it. Is it's clearly made me who I am. It's a significant part of how I got here, of my life story. People often ask, would you do it again? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't change anything. I enjoy the fact that I got a glimpse, more than a glimpse into that world. I have a lot of respect for it. It brought me a lot of respect for life that I think I didn't have up until that point. I'm sure you remember.
Oh, yeah.
This is even before going to Iraq, but when you're in basic training, you're introduced to people from all over the United States, from every walk of life. Every single one of them is there. The most intelligent people are there, and the very opposite people are there too.
Right.
And it broadens your perspective. Fast forward to 2003, 4. It's a little bit of a blur. That's a long time ago. It was 2004. I was flown to Kuwait early in 2004 in March.
Right.
Or February, something like that. So pretty early in the era of the Iraq War, whatever we're calling it, Operation Iraqi Freedom. It's probably the technical term. I was a young kid. I mean, honestly, it was 21 years old.
Yeah.
And what an adventure I'd found myself in.
It was crazy. Yeah.
We spent a month in Kuwait preparing.
Yeah.
Preparing to move to Iraq, and not knowing what lies ahead on that road. And that was, I can still remember it. Almost every moment, maybe not every moment in Kuwait, but every moment on that 500-mile journey from whatever base we were on in Kuwait into Baghdad. And we'll never forget the smell of entering Baghdad. But along the way, honestly, I saw just amazing things. I saw absolutely incredible things that, again, had I never done that, I never would have seen. I saw people existing. just existing, just living their life, just like I was living my life.
Yeah.
And I immediately said, wow, these are human beings, just like I'm a human being. And they're just existing. They're here on earth. They just were given a different start and a different journey. And it immediately gave me a really profound respect for human life that only got more and more severe as time went on in Baghdad, as Baghdad was a very violent place back in 2004. There were constantly explosions and constant gunshots and a lot of excitement going on.
And a lot of fear too, I'm sure.
Yeah, there was I wasn't necessarily a fearful person, cautious for sure.
Right.
I was looking for excitement, and I found myself in the middle of a pretty good amount of it. And but again, through all of that patrolling, again, I was an infantry soldier, so patrolling around Baghdad, mostly southern Baghdad, back in 2004, gave me just an amazing perspective of human life. And seeing these people, same thing. Just Baghdad's a huge city, huge. It's 9 million people or something like that. And
that's crazy.
I could be very wrong, but I think it's very big.
Right.
But there's a lot of people there, and they just want to live life, just like I want to live life. And I gained a really good appreciation for the fact that, hey, I'm in their territory, and I have the potential to make their life more difficult. And I didn't want that for them. And so I just maintained an air of respect the whole time, and was treated really nicely because of that. And I think I was blessed with everybody in my platoon, for the most part, kind of had that same respect for human life. And that's not always the case in the military, but I think I was lucky, and we received a lot of respect back from the Iraqi people. And again, I can still picture a lot of their faces today for good reasons.
No, I can only imagine. I remember, when I was in Kuwait, it was after Iraq had, come in, and, we had liberated Kuwait. And so this was just Operation Desert Watch, I believe is what it was. And just to see the Kuwait city in ruins at different parts, and it was eye-opening to say the least.
Yeah, I think I know exactly what you're talking about, not with Kuwait City, but with Baghdad. And what a beautiful city that must have been. It still was a beautiful city. Amazingly old, amazing architecture, amazing people.
Yeah.
So many times when we were patrolling around, I wanted to stop at all the markets, but knew, it was too dangerous. We couldn't. But watching them out my window going, wow, look at all those amazing people selling things. Like, how incredible would it be to just be welcomed there, to not have to be an outsider. And I hope someday to be able to go back. I really do. It might sound strange, but I would absolutely love and cherish the opportunity to go back to Baghdad in particular, and under friendly terms.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
No body armor, no assault rifle,
yes.
no helmet, just looking for, again, a different kind of adventure this time.
Yeah. And in the terms of adventure, it kind of, I don't know, from what I can tell, it kind of puts you on the winemaking path a little bit, with the care package that you got from a mysterious person, because you just got random care packages. And in one of the care packages was a book.
Oh, you've got the book.
I've got the book.
The one right there. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, From Vines to Wines by Jeff Cox. This is the one. This one clearly hasn't been to Baghdad because the pages aren't falling out.
Exactly.
It's a little bit warm there.
Well, thanks to Amazon that they.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for bringing that.
You're welcome.
I actually still have this book. I don't know if it's the actual one I brought from Baghdad. I think I've actually been given this a couple times.
Oh, okay.
Apart from today.
Right.
But that's a fantastic book. I mean, this literally was this was the genesis of me getting into the wine industry, and whoever sent it to me, like, thank you,
Right.
whoever they are. I don't know who they are, and you're right. You receive care packages, thankfully, all the time, and which are incredible. People out there are taking time out of their day, and these are people I don't even know who they are,
Right.
to put together some niceties, some candy, some books. Usually they're romance novels.
Right. Or socks with the stitching on it.
Socks with the stinking stitchings right on the toes, and who wears those socks? I mean, somebody's wearing those
Somebody,
socks,
yeah.
not this guy.
No.
And nasal spray. They love to send you nasal spray, but and part of that is where they're sending them to me. They don't know where I'm at. The military is not willing to tell anybody where a soldier is. That's classified. So they're sending it to the Army, and the Army somehow gets it out to the fields. But that book ended up in my hands pretty early on in 2004. And I'm very thankful for whoever that person is. I'd really like to tell that person thank you. I've asked my parents if it was them. They don't think it was, but they have the same. I got my memory from them, so which is that whole can't remember shit memory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But whoever had the idea of putting that book in a care package made an incredible contribution to my life, and enabled me for some amazing change. And I joined the military willingly, obviously, as everybody does, at least most everybody does in this country. Yes, I would do it again, but I was very confident that I did not want to stay in the military.
Right.
I had what I would call, I was an ambitious person, and I wanted promotion quickly. And I'll be, even looking back on it, they missed their opportunity, the military. And I'm not the only one that has that same story. And the military is huge,
Oh, yeah.
But they missed their opportunity. But I'm glad they did, because if they would have continued to promote me at the rate that I thought would have been more appropriate, I probably wouldn't be here. And I enjoy making wine way more than standing in the streets of Baghdad, wearing 60 to 70 pounds of gear,
Right. Well,
sweating.
Right. And I have to say, I'm grateful that you're making wine instead of, wearing 60 or 70 pounds of gear as well, because your wines are gorgeous.
Well, thank you very much. Again, I think it's, while I maybe didn't have the greatest time in the Army, had I not done that, I wouldn't be here. When I got out of the military, this was in 2000, and I think it was officially out in 2006. I got back from Baghdad in 2005, so I think I still had a year or so under my contract. I was a pretty troubled individual. It's pretty rough going from imminent danger every day, every second of your life, to live in the United States again, where there isn't that.
Right.
And human beings are survivors, myself included. And you figure out how to survive in a very hostile environment. But the opposite, unfiguring out or refiguring out how to live in a country or an area where there isn't that, is really, really challenging. And I can't properly put that in words, what it feels like we call it PTSD, but it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than four letters, or I hope that's 4 letters.
It is. Yeah.
It's a lot more than that. And it was really challenging. And I lived in the pit of despair for a long time. And I was not a productive member of society because I couldn't be. And wine, I think, saved me. Wine gave me purpose. It also gave me an outlet, someplace to sort of channel those demons. And it's amazing that this was probably the first time in my life I've truly ever been an artist. I've always been creative inside of my head, but never in material.
Right.
And this worked. And it's kind of just that. It really worked. And took me a little bit by surprise, but pleasantly so. I'm very, very thankful to this day that I'm able to make the kind of wines that I'm able to make. I think that's part of it's luck, part of it's the journey.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if I hadn't seen and smelled what the pit of despair looks like,
Right.
I probably wouldn't appreciate this as much.
Yeah. Well, and you know, it also your hard work and your work ethic, you know, goes into it, and you know, to work those demons out and just, I want to say, blood, sweat, and tears, like during harvest. I mean, that has to just let your body just work through that,
Yeah, I think
emotionally and physically.
it's some of the most amazing time. I mean, harvest is, I'm sure I'm not the first person to say this, but harvest is, it's beyond special. It is so much work that you're forced to rely upon your instincts more than you even understand. And that's when you find out if you're any good.
Right.
There's so many decisions to be made. There's so many hours to work. There's so much dedication to either be a part of or not to be a part of. I definitely think, you know, again, my training in the military for my work ethic. My parents as well. My parents are probably the hardest working people I've ever seen outside of the military. Military people have a different, they actually are built different.
Yeah.
And I should tell them thank you. I haven't. This is my opportunity.
There you go. There you go.
But they took a young man and turned me into an actual adult. You know, at the time I was a soldier, but yeah, they really instilled what it truly means to work hard.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for that. I don't work as hard as I used to. At least not physically. I have so much more of my job is mental, you know, again, trying to plan out a whole year, trying to think conceptually, you know, what wines are going to work together and think outside of the box. And I'm very blessed that I still get to work with my hands. I added sulfur to barrels all last week while I had the bottling line up and running, which was, that might sound boring. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Batching barrels and getting a sweat going. It was incredible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good work ethic. Again, sitting still is hard for me. You probably see I'm moving around in my chair a lot, but I'm just the type of person that always feels like I could be making progress on something. And winemaking, it gives me that. It literally satisfies that. I'm able to scratch that itch.
Yeah, no, and it is absolutely amazing. And I assume when you got out of the Army, you had the GI Bill, and
Thankfully,
yes, and you ended up, you know, following in your granddad's footsteps, your mom's footsteps, by going to Washington State.
Yeah, go Cougs.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandfather went to Washington State after World War II.
Yeah.
And it was probably a different place then, but he started that tradition, and then my mother went there. I think Mount St. Helens erupted while she was there. My brother also went there. My brother played golf for Washington State. We actually graduated in the same year. He's 3 or so years younger than me, but because of my time in the military, obviously it delayed my entrance into college, which was for the best, for sure. Yeah. But that was great. We got to walk together.
It's amazing.
It was excellent. It was fantastic. And Washington State it's a great place. I hope my kids want to go there. It's a really beautiful environment. It's out in the middle of nowhere, absolutely nowhere. There's wheat fields.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, but it's great for that. There's nowhere to go, and so everybody is forced to stay on campus, and so then you are forced to make new friends and new interactions and see people again, like the military, from all over the place. Yeah. And because you're forced to see everybody, everyone's quite friendly to each other, and I think that's a pretty magical situation.
Yeah.
Washington State didn't have a necessarily a viticulture and enology degree at the time. It was sort of a burgeoning study. So I studied horticulture with a specialization in viticulture and enology, which again, I love that. I love that I got to do both. But we should, I tell people this often is winemaking is not something you learn in school.
No,
it's far too intricate, but it's great to learn the science behind it. And I'm very thankful that I at least have a decent understanding of organic chemistry. And that helps me be, I think, a more consistently great artist.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, there's so much to be learned, from the books, but once you actually get your hands on, there's so much more. And a couple of weeks ago, I interviewed Kinney from Arabilis, and so he and his wife actually graduated from Washington State as well. And his dissertation was on studying the different types of sugars that it has, the effects that different sugars have on sparkling. And it was, just to be able to talk with two different people in like the span of a month that went to the same place, I thought it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, I loved living in Pullman. I've had a number of sort of fortuitous moments in my life, and that was one of them. Going to Washington State. Another one happened while I was at Washington State. Because of my brother, I don't remember the exact events, but because of him, I was introduced to a local winemaker who has a winery down in Clarkston, which is about 30 miles south, pretty doable.
Right.
And the gentleman's name's Rick Wassam. He's a lovely, lovely person. He and a couple partners own a winery in Clarkston called Basalt Cellars. And they were nice enough to just invite me down to essentially come hang out. I told him I was, studying horticulture and viticulture enology at Washington State, and he basically said, if you want to come around and, just hang out and help us make wine, you should. And I said,
right.
How does tomorrow sound? And
Sign me up.
That probably took him a little bit off guard, but that's just kind of the way I am. And to his absolute credit, he said, that's fantastic.
Right.
He didn't pay me anything. I wasn't asking for anything either. All I wanted was knowledge. I was very, very hungry individual for knowledge. And that snowballed into just this amazing opportunity. I went down for a couple days in a row, and just helped them squish grapes, do punch downs. I didn't know what a punch down was at the time. I found out. Yeah. Punching down Cabernet Sauvignon is rather difficult. Grapes are very, very thick, nothing like what we do with Pinot here. Yeah. And after probably a week, he kind of pulled me aside, and he's just like, it's great that you're coming down here, but I think we need to start paying you. And I just said, oh, really? Why? He's like, well, then you could come every single day. And, we'd have an obligation. I just said, that would be a fantastic deal. Like, if you pay me, I'll come here every single day that you want me here.
Right.
And he hired me on as essentially a cellar hand, if at best.
Right.
I was willing to do whatever he asked. I didn't care. Right. I'm trying to think how long I worked for him. I probably worked for him for over a year, off and on, sometimes full-time, sometimes part-time, depending on what was going on. It's a small winery, but it gave me the most amazing opportunity to go to school from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., drive to Clarkston. I'd get there. Fruit would just be showing up as kind of the nearest grapes to there, probably 3 hours away. At least they were at the time.
Right, right.
And I would help with the offload of the grapes, and we'd start processing them. And I'd work till 7 or 8 p.m. at night, drive back to Pullman, and do it all over in the morning or the next day.
Right, right.
And it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And that's when I really knew, like, oh, I really want to make wine. Before that, I was thinking I wanted to specialize more in growing grapes. As plant science is the first area of education that's ever actually interested me. It's the first time I've ever actually gotten A's in school. Right. That it made me want to try. I loved I loved plant science. I loved horticulture. It finally, something came easy to me.
Right.
And so I was thinking, would really love to spend most of my time with the grapes, with the vines. And I still do. And I'm afforded that opportunity. I don't work with the vines on a daily basis, but I get to have purview over the management of our vines.
Right.
And so Basalt Cellars was amazing. As I was approaching graduation, I decided obviously I needed to go do some internships, and I was offered an exchange through Washington State with a university in Toulouse, France, called Pure Pond.
Okay.
And I went over to France for a couple months and got to live with a family in Bordeaux in 2006. And that was really the actual sort of trigger point, like where I really switched from saying I want to grow grapes to I want to make wine. And living with the family, again, didn't get paid anything. Wasn't asking for anything other than knowledge.
Right.
I'm sure I was annoying to them because I was constantly like, I wanted, give me more, give me more, give me more. I want to do this. They had me labeling, which I recognize now labeling is very important, but I wanted things I wanted to, to be able to bite into the meat of it.
Of course.
I wanted to pull leaves in the vineyard. I wanted to move wine, which those are important too, but apparently you have to put a label on a bottle in order to be able to sell it.
Apparently.
But yeah, going over and living with Chateau Kentenach, the Roscoms, just outside of Saint-Emilion and Libourne, that really, I caught the bug, the winemaking bug.
Right.
And I just said, oh no, I want to grow grapes too, but I want to make wine. I want to be the person. I want to be the artist in charge of creating this amazing drink.
Yeah.
And I've never looked back.
And I can only imagine. And then, like, you came back to Oregon. You were working for Drew Voigt at Shea for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I think you were when you went to New Zealand, and then when you came back, you had the opportunity to work Harvest with Tony. I'm curious, when Tony approached you for Harvest, did you know that Tony was the man, the myth, the legend at that point?
I surely didn't, but it's probably for the best. I figured out pretty quickly.
Oh, I'm sure.
And Drew is, again, very fortuitous moment. I've never been a lucky person, but I suppose everyone has their time when luck is on their side. And Drew, I worked Harvest for Drew. I went to New Zealand, which he introduced me to a winemaker by the name of Jen Parr, who is now the winemaker at Valley, makes some of the best wines in Central Otago, incredible wines. So I went and worked for her and came back. And as I stepped off the plane in 2009, this was in 2009, and turned my American cell phone on for the first time in 4 months, the battery was dead. And Drew had actually just moments before called me and left me a voicemail and basically just said, "Hey, Chris, it's true. I was whatever at the Starbucks in McMinnville and ran into blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And they're looking for someone for Harvest. Give me a call as soon as you get this." And so I just turned my phone on. So I called them with no battery life left. And I just said, "Hey, I'm in San Francisco. Like, I just got your voicemail. I'll call you as soon as I'm in Oregon. I'll be there in a couple hours." And I did. And so we met up out down at Chapters in Newburgh.
Oh, yeah,
Newburgh was a very quiet town at that point. And but Chapters was still there. So we grabbed a coffee and he gave me somebody's phone number. Again, I didn't know who this name belonged to.
Right.
And he just said, "Hey, he's expecting your phone call." And so we left, and I I called him, and again, Drew probably told me who this person was, but clearly I wasn't listening very well, or it just didn't register.
Right.
I don't know. I was excited. Let's just say that I was very excited because I was begging. I was talking to God a lot, saying, give me a chance. Like, just let me get a full-time job somewhere and show people how dedicated I can be. And so I was pretty excited that, maybe this was an opportunity, maybe.
Right.
And so I called the phone number, and it wasn't actually, again, this was a while ago. I don't think I spoke with Tony. I think I spoke with the former winemaker, James Cahill. And he basically said, yeah, we're looking for somebody, why don't you come on out and we'll talk. And I just said, great, I can be there in 15 minutes. So, and again, I think he was a little surprised, and to his credit, he's like, okay, great. So I drove out here, kind of where I'm sitting today, although this was outside at that point, but we met pretty much right out there in the driveway, and we spoke for about 15 minutes, and he basically said, well, why don't you come back tomorrow and you can meet Tony.
Right.
And fast forward to that point in time, I drove up to the same spot, and Tony Soter was there, and Tony introduced himself, and it was just Tony and I, and he's like, well, why don't we just take a walk, and we'll walk up, to the top of the hill to the tasting room. At the time, that was his residence. And that was the first time I actually got a glimpse of Mineral Springs Vineyard. And there was an aha moment. I knew I was here to talk about a job, but I didn't know how amazing of a vineyard and place this was until I saw the vines. And even just seeing them at a distance, I was just had that sort of internal moment where I said, wow, this isn't just any opportunity. Like, that's an incredible looking vineyard. And I think I understood the sort of the seriousness of the situation. Tony offered me 3 months of work, and basically said, after 3 months, you can work harvest for us. I think it was more like 4 months, but basically start now, help us through bottling, work harvest. After harvest, we'll talk.
Right.
If we think you've done a good job and you have the type of personality that'll fit in with us, then maybe we'll find a job for you. And if not, we'll peacefully go our separate ways. And I said, that sounds like a deal. And it was a blur of 4 months. It was a blur. I remember very little of it, actually. I remember feeling like a chicken with its head cut off, just inundated by so much new knowledge, so many new things to understand, to master. And it was this, again, a moment of like clarity that wasn't clear at all. But the clarity was, there is so much to winemaking that nobody understands.
No, and no, they don't. And I read a book, I think it's called A Vineyard in Napa, and it's about Schaefer Vineyards. And it talked about how Tony came in and, kind of helped them with their vineyard and their vines, and, looking at, telling them, let's go out to the vines and see what the vines are telling us, and then, got, obviously, help them bring their vines back up to life and whatnot. And I'm sure, being out here at Soter, with biodynamic farming, the time that you've been here, I'm sure that you've learned tremendous amounts of biodynamic farming. But I'm curious, like when you started and now, what has changed in the world of biodynamics that you're taking on?
Everything, absolutely everything has changed for the better.
Right.
And no, it's I think, again, that's part of what I feel so fortunate is I started in 2009. Thankfully, after the 4 months, he didn't fire me. He gave me the very luxurious title of cellar master, which I probably didn't deserve, but it was a slow time in Oregon, not like it is now. Right. We were farming through live low input viticulture and enology. which is a good step in a better direction away from sort of traditional conventional farming, but it's still a giant leap away from biodynamic farming. Tony and Michelle both had a very large interest in organics, and Michelle particularly in biodynamics. And that was just a word to me. I didn't know what that meant. And wouldn't probably for a couple years, and wouldn't really understand it for many more years after that. Is again, it's a lot to learn. It's a lot to understand. There's a lot that is not definable, and that's hard for people.
Yeah,
it's not hard for me, but it's hard for people to not have a definition for something, and for it to still be a legitimate thing. So it's been a pretty amazing transition, again, watching the vineyard, have Roundup used on it back in the day, going, this doesn't feel right. And again, I eat a lot of grapes. A lot is an understatement of the year. I eat a lot of grapes. And to have that thought of, well, I'm eating something that probably has some Roundup in it, and other things too, synthetics. And in 2013, we made the transition. We hired a new vineyard manager who had a much greater perspective on organic and biodynamic farming. This was Nadine Liu, or Basil. And she really shepherded us into this new realm that we exist in. It takes three years to transition, rightfully so. We immediately stopped using any Roundup. We weren't using a lot of Roundup, I should say, but we used it on occasion. It was a crutch, and you have to take away the crutches. And it sounds harder than it really is. And it's not easy, but it's not that challenging. The biggest key to First Organics and to biodynamics is you just have to be willing to be more involved. And if you're someone like myself who refuses to do anything half-assed, that's not that challenging. I want to be involved. I love being involved. But it does force you to walk your vines more. Maybe it enables you. But if you want to make better wines, the number one way to do it is to grow better grapes.
Exactly.
That have more personality.
Right.
And I'll be honest, I was not a believer in biodynamics. Once I'd heard that word, again, it was just a word, I looked it up. What is it? I read a couple books. And to no credit to those books, like they just didn't do a very good job. It was fairy dust and gnomes living in the vineyard. And there was too much mystery and too much magic to it. And it might be magic, but not that kind of magic. It's the kind of magic that it does really exist, but there's no hocus pocus to it, if you know what I mean. I know that's a little ambiguous there, but there's certain things that exist outside of the definition or understanding of just strict sciences, and that doesn't mean that they're not legitimate. Biodynamics is a very legitimate practice that in my experience here, I've seen a greater personality emerge from the vines. It's like taking away irrigation from your vines, saying it's time for these vines just to actually live in this ground and express the land. So the number one thing you can do is just to not irrigate them if you can.
Right.
Not every area is set up for that. I'm thankful that Oregon, Willamette Valley very much is. We have plenty of rainfall, and taking away irrigation from the vines really allows your vines to express your ground.
Right. They have to struggle and dig deep and get that water.
Yeah. And part of that struggle is part of where that greatness comes from. Again, it's nothing great in this world comes easily.
No, I mean, and even us as human beings, if we don't struggle, we don't have a whole lot of personality ourselves.
Totally agree. Couldn't agree more. And, as grape growers, winemakers, we struggle right along with the vines, maybe in slightly different ways. I can get a drink of water but the mental struggle and the physical struggle, it's real.
It's there, yeah.
And when you cross that threshold into organics and biodynamics, we did both at the same time. We just said we don't need an intermediate state of just organics. We want to go to biodynamics immediately. It forced us to struggle more too, but it enabled us to create a greater connection with with where we live, with where we grow grapes.
Yeah.
I don't physically live here on site, but it sure feels like it. This is my home. This is my temple, and it's my safe place. I love being here. And since we moved to biodynamics, it feels even better. When I eat the grapes, I make up my picking decisions off of eating grapes, and when I'm eating grapes, knowing that knowing that I don't have to worry about what's going into my body.
Right.
That I'm not ingesting something that's synthetic, that I'm not ingesting, Roundup or something like that. It makes a world of difference to me. My body feels better for it. And I think that's what it's all about.
And I agree. And, you're talking about this place. I remember the first time I visited, it was just gorgeous. I ended up doing, I can't think of the experience now, but the food tasting.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And they poured the Brut Rosé as the first wine, and they called it Soter Pop. And I'll never forget that that they called it Soter Pop. Do you have any idea how the Brut Rosé ended up getting nicknamed Soter Pop?
That name existed before my time, and I'm working on 14 years here.
Right.
So I don't fully understand the origins of that. Okay. We'd have to ask someone like Courtney Cunningham, who worked here before me. She worked here. We worked here together. Right. She ran the tasting room.
Okay.
And I think she was employee number 3. I think I'm employee number 4 at this place. I think now we have, 40 or more employees, but that would be a better question for her.
Okay.
But it's definitely an affectionate term. And when I hear people say it, there's almost this understanding of, something that some people don't know. And it always makes me smile on the inside hearing that.
Yeah. Well, it is amazing. Just, I don't know. Just when you drive up that hill, it's just, even when I drove up today, I'm like,
it's an amazing place.
It is.
I have just recently started getting into Instagram, maybe a year ago or so. And so I've been doing a couple of videos. I'm not very good at it. And I take a lot of videos and they never ever show up on there because I lose interest. I'm too tired at night. But I put together a couple of videos of just driving up the driveway just so people can see what I have seen for the last, over 13 years. Every single day is amazing.
It is.
It's incredible. I love driving up our driveway. It's a long driveway. But you get to meander through these amazing oak trees that have the most gnarled branches. These trees are hundreds of years old, and they might be gnarled, but they feel like they're kind of giving you a hug, like welcoming you to the place.
Yeah,
they're both like a guardian for the place, but also like a soft pillow for when you get here.
Yeah,
and it's an incredible driveway, and it leads into just more amazingness. You drive to the winery and you're like, wow, it's a barn built in the 1930s that's still standing, and we've improved it a little bit to help it stand up.
Yeah.
We use it as a winery. It has its own personality. We have this amazing winery with 2 caves, so the barrels can rest underground. We don't have to cool them. We don't have to heat them.
Right.
And then there's the vineyard, and the vineyard is, I generally fail with descriptions of the vineyard. It's sort of transcends beyond any reasonable description, I think.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So underneath those caves, is that where you had all the reserve wine kind of hidden away from Tony when he said, "Hey, we should start a reserve sparkling program"?
I still feel a little sheepish about it, but Only a little bit. At the time, it was, I very well knew I was doing something that was maybe a little taboo. And I only say taboo is that I was keeping wines back without telling anybody.
Right.
They were still in the inventory, just to be completely clear. The TTB would not be mad at me. We paid tax on all of them eventually. But I was the only one looking at the inventory in those days. And so they were able to stay sort of under the radar. And it was just a fascination. Honestly, again, the genesis of that is someone kind of told me, you can't do this. And it's my least favorite word in the English language is the word can't.
I'm right there with you.
Anytime someone says you can't, it just makes me want to do it. Yep. And someone said, you can't or you shouldn't. I don't remember what the exact wording was. You shouldn't, you can't put base wine Pinot through malolactic. That's where it started. And I'm just like, okay, but I want to know why.
Right.
Why can't you? Because it doesn't feel like you can't. My intuition, I don't see any red flags going up. No one's up there saying, yeah, that clearly, wouldn't work. So 2011 actually gave me that opportunity. 2011 was the second cool vintage in a row. And we're talking really cool and really late. And not cool like wears cool sunglasses cool, like a lack of sunshine.
Right.
And it was a pretty challenging year. 2010 was the first one. We rolled the dice and got away with it in 2010. We harvested at the end of October. 2011 presented the same thing, but even less temperature and a bigger crop, a much bigger crop. And so Tony deserves absolute credit here, but he decided very intelligently to hedge our bets.
Right.
And he told me, we're going to make a lot more sparkling wine than we otherwise would. At the time, we were making probably 1,000 cases of sparkling wine. And we ended up, I think, we doubled it. We made 2,500 cases of sparkling wine. And it was a good use for a big crop. And at least we had money, money in the bank. Right. We knew we could make amazing sparkling wine. So we made this amazing sparkling wine, and part of making sparkling wine is you need to freeze juice to later be used in the spring to grow up the yeast. They're going to conduct that second fermentation.
Right.
And so rather than freezing 50 gallons or 25 gallons at the time, I froze, I froze like 100 gallons of juice. I just kept it as sort of a still wine, but literally turned it into blocks of ice in chest freezers. And that turned out to be a bit more than what we really needed. And I found myself with about a barrel's worth, about 60 gallons of juice left over in May.
Okay.
And well, what am I going to do with 60 gallons of juice? I'm going to ferment it. I'm going to make wine out of it. That's what I did 6 months before, 7 months before. And then I thought, why don't I put this through malolactic? It's a base wine. It's Pinot. Why don't I put it through malolactic? Let's see what happens.
Right.
So I barrel fermented it, as I do all my base wines. And then I just, after, primary fermentation, I just said, I'm just going to let it be. And let's let these beautiful little bacteria that are all over the place, let's let them go to work on the wine and convert that malic acid into lactic acid. And let me just see what happens. The worst thing that could have happened right there is that it wouldn't taste that good. No big deal. I carry the wine over into the next year and blend it away.
Right.
The best thing that could happen is I could learn something amazing. And so I put it through malolactic. I tasted it after it was done. And I just said, there is just something amazing about this. Like, I don't understand why someone would tell me you can't do this or you shouldn't do this. This to me tastes like another layer of complexity. And then I said, well, it's only May, June, maybe July at that point. And I have this year-old base wine, from the previous year. Well, what am I going to do with it? It tastes really good. Well, why don't I put it in the back of the cave and see what it does for the next couple months? Again, rather than re-fermenting it, blending it away, why don't I just keep it?
Right.
So I put it in the back of the cave and I tasted it through harvest. And it kept getting more interesting and more interesting and more interesting. And then I started thinking, why don't I add some other really interesting pieces to this collection? Maybe some that haven't gone through malolactic, maybe some Chardonnay. And why don't I see if I can create something interesting here? And at the time, I honestly didn't really have a destination for those wines. I knew something interesting was going to come from it, but I didn't know what. And so, but it wasn't until 2017. So I'd had, multiple vintages here to stockpile interesting pieces of Chardonnay and Pinot based wines. They were all from Mineral Springs at that point. And the stockpile had grown to the point of somewhat of an inconvenience, to be honest, because it's extra work. You got to take care of these wines. And then it was in the summer of 2017, before the vintage, before the harvest had started, that Tony had told me he was buying this new vineyard, and he had recently asked me to stop. Ask is a nice word, to stop making the Blanc de Noirs, and had proposed that we make a multi-vineyard wine. And I didn't understand what he was talking about, but he's like, well, I'm working on buying this new vineyard, and you could make base wines from Mineral Springs as you normally do.
Right.
And you could make base wines from this beautiful property, Isla Amity, that I'm working on. And that was really fascinating to me. And it was, again, I probably blacked out. So, it was just one of those things. The words probably came out of my mouth, whether I wanted them to or not. And I just said, well, what would you think about if it was a multi-vintage wine as well? And that was again, another aha moment. And Tony kind of looked at me. He's like, how would we do that? And I just said, well, I think I need to confess. Like, I hope this is an amnesty period. Again, to his absolute credit, his only response was, go get a wine thief and let's taste. And we spent, well, when Tony and I taste, sometimes time stops existing, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Clearly it's still going, but it's not in our little microcosm at that point in time. So we went into the caves and just tasted barrel by barrel and just let the creative juices flow. And the conversation was amazing. And I think we both knew at that point in time we had, again, I don't want to say stumbled, because we weren't stumbling, but we had come from different directions and ended up in this crossroads of amazingness. And we both looked at each other and just said, we can definitely do something here. Like, this is going to be fun. Yeah. This is going to be incredible. It's going to be a lot more work, but I've never shied away from that. And it still, again, feels a little bit like a dream, that I was able to be a part of the genesis of what I think is maybe our most interesting sparkling wine.
And I have to say, it's fabulous.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I read the story that it came out. I delayed. It's like, I got to get up and see if I can get a bottle. And so finally I heard at IPNC last year that, that it was around, and I'm like, ooh, I got to go find it. And I couldn't find it. And then finally got my first taste of it at Friday Night Salute. And I'm like, oh, and December I came up and got a few bottles.
Wonderful. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I'm glad it got in your hands. I mean, that's why I make wine.
Yeah,
for people to drink it.
Yeah, no, it's gorgeous.
And now you have my phone number, so you could just shoot me a text, and I'll make sure I'll put a couple balls aside for you. So that was the sort of the inaugural blend. We're calling it, I think, version 1.
Right.
It's a non-vintage wine. It's not a non-vintage wine. It's a multi-vintage wine. It's a multi-vineyard and multi-vintage, and I like multi-vintage because there's intention to the different vintages.
Right.
Non-vintage to me is almost a blurring over of vintages, and this isn't a blurring over. This is again an intentional inclusion of whatever vintages we want, whatever vintages we have, in any particular amount. It gets really complicated.
I can only imagine.
And we were talking about we both have kids, and I didn't again realize this at the time, but raising those wines is a little bit like raising kids. Now my kids are only 7, but someday I'm going to have to let them go out into the big world. It's the same with the wines.
Right.
I've grown attached, and I continue to grow attached to every single one of these wines. And it becomes particularly difficult to talk myself into using them, because once I use a barrel of whatever, 2015 Blanc de Noir or 2018 Mineral Springs Block 18, that barrel's gone.
Yeah.
Never to exist again. It's for the greater good that I've chosen it and putting it into a blend, but part of me is a little bit sad that, especially when that wine is now completely gone. If I had 3 barrels and I've used all 3, that's it.
Right.
They're just memories at this point. And so it's fun to taste the wines and to recall which wines I put in there, especially from the reserve.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. And you briefly mentioned about being politely asked to stop on the Blanc de Noir, but if I remember the story correctly, you were tasting the Blanc de Noir. Tony was walking by, and you're like, "Hey, Tony, come here." And he's like, and you're like, "You got to taste this." And Tony tastes and is like, "No, it's crap. Shut it down."
He was a little more polite than that, but you hit the nail on the head. And it was actually in this room. And so you guys can't see it, but just outside of these doors, he was walking by right here, and I was tasting wines, and he peeked in and he's just like, "Yeah, what are you up to?" And I'm like, "I'm tasting, young sparkling wines that were entourage, completed secondary fermentation, and it's good to check in on the personalities." I like to stay in touch with the wines as much as I possibly can, and I poured it for him, and I thought it was pretty amazing. It was exuberant. Pinot is a very exuberant grape, especially when it's young.
Yes.
That was mistake number 1. I should have just said, I'll let you know in a year or two. Maybe let's come back to this. But it was very exuberant, and he was pretty blunt with the fact that he thought no one was going to like this wine.
Right.
And that hit me pretty hard. Like that was, I'm an emotional person. I think that's part of my success of winemaking is that I make wines not in a vacuum, but with a lot of emotion.
Right.
And that was a bit of a tough blow.
Well,
That what I thought was really amazing. Tony Soter, who has a lot more experience than I do, didn't have any confidence in it, and I'm not saying he's wrong, right? Because at that time, he very well could have been right, and from his perspective, and it was hard for me to swallow, but I did. I said, okay,
yeah,
no problem. Again, had he never done that, we never would have created this Brut X. We never would have made it to this point. So that little bit of pain led to something pretty amazing. Now it all came back. It's full circle.
Yes.
And I think that's the really happy part of this story is that fast forward. Well, it took another sad event in 2019. Tony's partner, Michelle Soter, passed away, and she, had a long struggle with cancer, and it was really, really, to say it was sad is it's not putting it correctly.
Yeah.
It was bizarre, just because everything I knew of Soter Vineyards was with Michelle here.
Of course.
And now she wasn't. She had
Right.
started the next journey, and she was, we made sparkling wines because of her. And she unfortunately passed away just a few days before the sparkling wine harvest started in 2019, which was really tough. And it rained, just I think the day of her passing, and gave us some new found motivation. I just kind of came down to the team and said, this happened, we need to to keep this in mind while we make these wines. Again, I like to make wines emotionally. I think it's important.
Right.
Again, fast forward through the harvest, we made fantastic wines in 2019. Tony, after a period of mourning, had emailed myself and a few other people, and basically just said, he wants to honor Michelle's passing, with at the anniversary of her passing the following year, and wants to release a sparkling wine in her honor. And we had a bunch of 2011 because we made so much. We decided to keep some entourage, and he's alluded to that. He's basically said this. I think this would be a great wine to release in her honor. And I usually don't quickly email anybody back. You know that. I like to take my time and think about things.
Right.
But I emailed him back immediately, and because I had that intuition, that indescribable feeling, and I emailed him back and I just said, I know the wine to release in Michelle's honor. First of all, I'm terribly sorry. I love the idea that you want to honor, the passing of your wife, your partner, and this amazing person. But I know the wine to honor her passing. And I just said, it's this wine. And I wrote in here, you just can't say no until you let me pour it for you.
Right. And
that was a bit bold, but I was feeling bold that day. And I felt it was also important to just say, just please let me pour it for you and taste it. Because I had been tasting that wine. Again, I wasn't giving up on that wine. It was still in Tirage. And I also have a 2016 that had already been made.
Right.
Before the program was canceled. He said, yes, I'll let you pour it for me. I'll keep an open mind. I already knew I was going to be successful because the wine is extraordinary. It's absolutely extraordinary. It's so good. At that point, I would say that I think it was the best sparkling wine I'd made and released up to that point. It hadn't been released yet, but it was going to be. I knew it was going to be. And so I poured it for him, and to my absolute pleasure, he said, absolutely, this is incredible. And I wish I had a bottle of it here. I don't, but he had an artist design a really beautiful label for it, a special label for this. It was an inaugural release. We had never made a Blanc de Noir.
Right.
And obviously it served an even deeper purpose because it was representing this amazing person. And we poured it at this remembrance party. And I've never felt so proud of one of my wines. I even for the first time got a hug from Tony.
Oh my gosh.
And that was incredible too.
That's awesome. That is great. Wow.
I'm not a huge hugger, but it was a really meaningful moment that we shared, and it was incredible to think about. We all someday are going to pass. We're all going to die. And I told him, I said, it's amazing that you're honoring her passing with such a nice bottle of wine. I'll be lucky if anyone honors my existence with a wine half this good. But it came full circle. And because of that, again, because it was canceled, we created the Brut X, and then now the Blanc de Noirs, it's back.
Yeah.
We released the 2015. It was just maybe 150 cases, so pretty small bottling. I have a 2016 Entourage, which we will release someday. We'll take our time. And then the next one in line would be a 2020, a 2021. And next week we'll be working on the 2022.
Wow.
So that's been pretty amazing as well, just to be a part of the genesis of an incredible wine with an incredible both meaning and story behind it.
Yeah. No, again, I think it just goes to show that everything with Soter has so much depth and intention and beauty behind it. It's just, I can only imagine being in your shoes and having that ability that I don't know. Just it's got to be very fulfilling as a human.
It is. It has its moments. There's also an incredible amount of stress involved with it, and that's the part that people don't get to understand. You know, what people see, what the consumer sees, is how the wine tastes.
Right.
And I'm happy they taste good, and been blessed with more than my fair share of good reviews and great acceptance, you know, from our fan base. And but what goes into it is an incredible amount of stress. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm willing to do it. Again, you know, we were talking about, you know, channeling my demons. It's a good place for them to go. It's a good outlet for myself.
Right.
And what comes from that stress is me getting to pour wine for people and seeing people's smiles, seeing how much people love it. And that is, it's worth twice as much as the stress. It's incredible. I live for it. Yeah. I generally try to be at every point I possibly can for that very reason. It's not a burden for me. It's what completes the circle. I love seeing people drink the wine.
Yeah.
I get to count myself as a very, very lucky person. Very lucky in that regards.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, and you're lucky in so many regards. One question that I had that's just, you have overcome so many obstacles. You're such a hard worker. And it sounds like that you want to own your own vineyard, but you're like kind of stuck.
I think it's just the price of a vineyard is all I'm talking about. I would love to own my own vineyard. I would. I wish I had a rich uncle, but I don't. Right. I would. I wouldn't stop making wine here, just to be completely clear.
No.
I love my opportunity here to make wine. It's extraordinary. It really is. I probably use that word too much, but I mean it. I would love to own a vineyard. I would love to own a vineyard, grow some grapes, and turn them into wine, just like I do here. We'd probably just do it for Soter Vineyards.
Right.
But the reality is that land has become almost unobtainable, at least for me. I'm not a wealthy person.
Right.
I'll just be honest. I have a wealth of knowledge. I have a wealth of talent, but I don't have a wealth of money. And unfortunately, that's the way you buy vineyards, is with the green stuff. But whether or not it happens, I think that's up to the universe. And I would say if it's meant to happen, it will. And if it's not, it won't.
Yeah. Well, you've had a very, you've had a lot of good things come your way.
No doubt about it.
And I'm sure it will happen.
Yeah. I hope so. Yeah. I hope so. I think it would be, again, I'd get to fulfill that sort of, the inner desire. Like I definitely, I feel it every day. I get to work with some amazing vineyards. We have around 100 acres of vines, and none of them are shabby. They're all incredible. And so, yeah, I'm really fortunate there, but it would be a different experience to be, the owner, the proprietor of even a small vineyard.
Right.
It couldn't be a very big vineyard because I'm not looking for a second full-time job.
Oh no, with 2 7-year-olds and being in charge of these. But I understand. I mean, just having that be yours there's something to that.
I think it would be. There would just be the possibility for discovery. You know, I could take all the knowledge that I've learned, all the intuition, and apply it in how I think the best way to grow grapes would be.
Right.
And that is a little different than what we do at Mineral Springs. It would be slightly different. I would probably be inclined to plant it a little differently. It would be to Pinot and Chardonnay, probably Chardonnay first.
Right.
As I just I love making Chardonnay. I love it. I love making Pinot. I love making sparkling wine, but Chardonnay it has a very, very special place in my heart, and I would love to have a Chardonnay vineyard. And yeah, it would just be an incredible opportunity to see what I could truly do with my own piece of ground planted by myself.
Right.
Again, I get to make all the wines here. I get to make all of the decisions other than the exact way to plant them. And that part, I think, is not insignificant.
Right. No, I totally agree. Oh, I have a couple rapid fire questions.
Go for it.
Get you out of here.
Do you need rapid answers?
If you want to, it's totally up to you.
That's like my arch nemesis. I probably annoy those that work for me because I like to think about things, and people will ask me questions, and I always in my mind decide, well, does this need an answer right now? And if the answer is no to that, then I'm going to take my time and I'll tell you tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'll do my best.
Okay. Very cool. Favorite artist to listen to during harvest?
Musician? Enya. Easy.
I figured that.
I love Enya.
I saw the Spotify open playlist.
Yeah.
And there was like 4 or 5 Enyas that were.
Oh, I absolutely adore Enya. I hope someday I get to meet Enya because I'd like to tell her how much she's helped me make great wine. She doesn't know that right now.
Okay, well, we got to find a way.
Maybe she'll watch this.
Well, I need to create a clip and like tag her in it.
Yeah, reach out, Enya. Come taste wines with me. You know? I listen to Enya a lot. I mean, yesterday I was here at 5 a.m. We bottle our own wines. We have our own bottling line. So I was here at 5 getting the bottling line ready by myself. And I was listening to A Day Without Rain, which is a beautiful album. If you've never listened to it, I highly recommend it. To say it's peaceful, again, is an understatement. I think Enya transcends sort of, I don't even know what to call her. She's Enya. Okay. I don't even think you can describe her music. I think she's just Enya.
That's a great category to be
in.
So
quick answer, Enya.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Your favorite indulgent food?
Ooh, favorite indulgent food. Well, I had a really nice pastrami sandwich before coming here. I don't know if that's indulgent. I suppose time and place. I really like pastrami. Beyond that, any Mexican food, honestly, any Mexican food. Indulgent to me is more so kind of, do I really need this? And beyond just average lunch, it's like having the flan after, some amazing chili rellenos or something like that. And it's like, do I need that flan? No, but I sure like it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. If you could choose a superpower, what would it be?
I've maybe telekinesis.
Okay.
Yeah. Just thinking like making wine. If I could move things without having to, if I could reach over and have hoses come to me. Wow, my life would be a little bit easier. So, I'd probably go with telekinesis. Mind control gets a little too potential for darkness.
It does.
I probably wouldn't want to enable myself this way. This is a Slytherin talking here. So,
So on that note, who is your favorite superhero?
Oh, I'm not really a fan of superheroes, to be honest.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. X-Men are probably, I once upon a time really liked the X-Men. Okay. Professor Xavier, but again, he's mind control. Right. He's probably my favorite. Trying to think who did telekinesis. Jean Grey.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer.
I don't know. That's
I'm not
fine.
a big superhero fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Harvest notes, are they digital or handwritten?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah. Most of them are just in my head. I used to write everything everything down. And I think I would give that advice to anybody getting into this is write everything down.
Right.
I'm the crazy type of person who strives to memorize it and just say, well, if it's that important, I'll memorize it. Now I definitely have diligent notes as far as chemistries go, but honestly, I rarely look at them. I will look at them at significant points in time. If I taste the wine and say, wow, what did I do there? You know, notes will tell you a little bit about it. But again, I try to rely upon intuition.
That's fair. That's fair. Last book you read, it could be, you know, actual physical book or audio book, or you could choose a podcast if you want to.
It's been a while since I read a book, to be honest. Well, this isn't the last one I read. Do you mind if I change the subject?
No, go for it. Yeah.
I was just talking about this the other day, and I read it just a little while ago for probably the 5th or 6th time, is The Monkey Wrench Gang.
Okay.
As well, The Desert Solitaire. So Edward Abbey is absolute favorite author.
Nice.
And they don't really have anything to do with wine other than I think Desert Solitaire is very much poetry. Daily poetry.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all the questions that I have.
Wonderful. Sorry I didn't answer the last one very well, but
No, that was a great answer. No,
yeah,
that was good.
I would have had to have come back to you on that one. So
No, it is all good. There is the blind wine. Do you want to take and it's up to you. If you want to take a stab, you're welcome to.
Well, I can smell that it's red.
Yeah, it is a red. Yeah.
Were you looking for a smart ass answer?
Smart ass.
That's what comes most naturally to me.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Well, I would have another sip of it.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely drinkable.
It is.
I'll be completely honest. I am not somebody who describes wines a lot.
That's fine. That's fine.
Wine is more of a feeling than it is of, butterfly wings on a dewy morning,
Right.
Sort of thing.
Yep. No. So I tried to pick something that might have some connection with you. And so this is a 2016 Harper White.
Oh, nice job, Drew. Yeah.
From Antiquum.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a nice job here. It's got a real rustic nose to it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's got that other factor going.
Yeah. No, I thought in biodynamics with Antiquum and Soter, I thought it, kind of fit together pretty well.
When did you open this bottle?
Let me see. I was coming out here at 2:30. I opened it around 1:30.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's pretty expressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, would say compliments to Mr. Drew Voigt on that. That's a good bottle of wine.
Yeah. No, it is a very good bottle. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been working with this vineyard for quite some time.
Yeah.
I remember him telling me about it. This would have been way back in, it might have been 2010 or maybe even before that. So, yeah, Drew has always got a special place in my heart for a lot of different reasons. I don't think I'm alone in that. But
no. He's an amazing guy.
Winemaker.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a great guy.
Mm.
All right.
Well, cheers to Mr. Drew here. That's a good wine.
Yes.
Yeah,
cheers.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.